Pick number 18 in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins go with Jaelan Phillips, edge rusher out of Miami, a guy who, after 2 injury-plagued seasons at UCLA, had to medically retire, but after flashing with the Hurricanes, his draft stock has skyrocketed, and the Dolphins get him at pick number 18. I like the selection for Brian Flores' defense, Tom.
If you're going to take an edge rusher, this is the best one on the board for me in this year's draft class. Number 26 overall, I've got a bunch of second and round 2/round 3 grades in terms of my edge rushers here. If it wasn't for the medical stuff, a ton of concussions at UCLA, some more injuries as well. There are some, at least, question marks around his little music, which we'll get to later on, but I don't think it's a big deal. He would have been, I think, a top 15 pick. So talent-wise, for the former number 1 overall recruit, that's not really in doubt. So I like this pick a lot from the Miami Dolphins. If you were going to take an edge rusher, this was the best one on the board for me. I like that from Miami. Fantastic athlete, good hand usage as well. He could use some growth in terms of being able to convert that quickness into power, namely through his long arm technique, being able to push that lineman back. But I like this move for Miami. I think this is at least a B grade.
So grade the pick of Jaelan Phillips to the Miami Dolphins. Hop into the comments and grade it for us. Play the scout. A, B, C, D, or F. I really like Jaelan Phillips as a fit for Brian Flores' defense. The medical issue is certainly a concern, but I think this is a player somewhat raw that Brian Flores could really plug into his system, and he could really excel and thrive.
Yeah, and I think he can be a stand-up edge, a hand-in-the-dirt edge, so that from that flexibility point, I think that fits pretty well there for Brian Flores. I give this at least a B. There are the medical concerns. Clearly, Miami is fine with that, so that makes me feel better about it there. I do want to acknowledge this. I don't really put much stock into it, but I think we have to bring it up there. He's a big music guy, and that's not a problem for me. It's not an issue if people have hobbies outside of their favorite thing. But when he withdrew from UCLA, when they did not medically clear him, he enrolled at LA City College, and I think his grandfather was like the dean of music at UCLA or something along those lines. He said before, this is his true passion, that music is his number 1 thing. So you have to just check that out, make sure he's still going to be a committed football player. I believe he will be. Clearly they agree with that, picking him at number 18 overall. He really broke out down the stretch. All 8 of his sacks this year came in the final 7 games.
Wow.
6.5 of them came in the final 4. I think you start to saw the true breakout for Jaelan Phillips. Hope it's not a Taco Charlton, I think, which I don't think it is. But upside-wise, I like it from the Miami Dolphins there. Good pick there.
So, I mean, if you're running a team and you're doing this entire draft process, Tom, kind of like you do, and just exhausting every resource into dissecting every single draft prospect, like, how do you have those conversations as to, okay, you know, he has a passion that is music, but we see the upside here. He medically retired because of concussion issues at UCLA. Is this just an upside pick because you're saying to yourself, if we get it right and he lives up to his potential, my goodness, he could be so scary?
That's where you got to trust your evaluation process and your valuation as well. You have to be able to, as an organization, and they're going to be able to do this better than us media scouts are going to be, because they're going to be able to interview the player. They're going to be able to do background research that we're not going to invest in. Like, I've heard of teams like hiring private eyes and hiring people to like go monitor what's going on. Like, there's a story here from when the Bucks were drafting early and Justin Blackmon was out there.
Remember
that? The Bucks sent I think it was a scout or a personnel guy to Justin Blackmon's favorite bar to see how often he was there. And he was there a lot, and they took him off the board as a result. That's stuff we're never going to end up doing. So because of that, you have a better feel for what teams end up doing. And I think in the end, the NFL is going to have to trust themselves to make the right call as it relates to that. So hopefully Jaelan Phillips ends up being a hit. There's a lot of good edge rushers there, a lot of uncertainty, though, in terms of what they're going to end up doing, in terms of who's going to hit, who's going to bust. Phillips, though, has the highest upside, I think, of pretty much any guy at the edge rusher spot in this year's draft class.
Very weird draft class, too, in terms of edge rushers,
Very
because just not a
weird.
ton of talent there.